Alright, what's going on, guys? It's Jam and Man. Today we're going to be going over the UFC 306 card event, which, as the time I'm recording this, is happening today. So, this is very last minute predictions, and before I even get into it, I just want to say that this card is completely, it's bad. For being a one-of-a-lifetime card, I think this is absolutely, like, just sick for Dana White to even put out. I mean, this is really just a glorified fight night card in my opinion. For a once in a lifetime card, we should have gotten at least some Brandon Moreno, some Yair Rodriguez. So, like, you know, those two fighters. Yair Rodriguez got subbed in his last fight. Why is he not being put into this one? Brandon Moreno had a fight scheduled for later. Why did he not get scheduled for this card? It's like, they could have had so many more Mexican stars in here, but yet they just left out the two of the biggest. I mean, you have Alexa Grasso. Okay. Where's Brandon Moreno? Where's Jair Rodriguez? You have Brian Ortega. You know? Diego Lopez is Brazilian. I mean, he could, you know, you're missing out on these key Mexican fighters, and you're calling it a once in a lifetime while putting Daniel Rodriguez and Odie Osborne on the main card. It's crazy. You go to look at the next UFC card, UFC 307. It's nowhere near. It's like they're having like a down season, and then they're stacking up UFC 309 and UFC 310. So I just don't like this card. I think it's a glorified fight night card. But moving on to the first fight, it would be Raul Rosas Jr. versus Ori Kaleng, I think his name is. And I mean, you look at it, it's a toss-up. This is just a toss-up for Raul Rosas Jr. He's 9-1. He's on a 2-fight winning streak. He beat his last two opponents very impressively, but lost to Christian Rodriguez. And I mean, hey, it's a hard man to get past. But Ori Kaleng, he's a journeyman, man. I don't think Raul Rosas Jr. will make it far in the UFC. I don't think he'll get anywhere near the top 10 in bantamweight. I feel like it's too stacked for someone like him, but I think he's gonna be flying past these unranked fighters. I mean, this is just a toss-up. So he has to put on a good performance. He has to get at least a knockout. So for that, I'm gonna just say Raul Rosas Jr. by knockout round 1. I mean, it fits, you know. He has to get a round 1 knockout. Give him someone in the top, like just outside the top 15 rankings, or even someone in top 15. Who knows? I mean, this is gonna be a toss-up fight for him. I think this is just gonna be an easy fight for him, and he needs his knockout. I think Ori Kaleng is just not gonna. He just doesn't do it. You know, he's not an impressive win on the resume, but I feel like if he did knock out him in the first round, it's like, oh shoot, he's so above the rest of these guys that he could actually be there. So I think Raul Rosas Jr. round 1 knockout. I don't know how he does it. I'm gonna just say round 1. Give him someone in the top 50. Give him fucking Montel Jackson or something. Alright, moving on. Edgar Tyrus versus Joshua Van. And now after this, after seeing this press conference, Joshua Van got no questions. I mean, that was a terrible press conference, but Joshua Van got no questions at all. I feel like he's going to go for revenge. I feel like he doesn't like the fact that he got no questions. I feel like he's being doubted here. He's going against someone that's terrible in my opinion. So I'm going to just go with Joshua Van by knockout. I mean, he got fraud checked by Charles Johnson in his last fight, but, you know, bounce back. Raul Rosas Jr. got fraud checked. Go back, go win your next fight. So I think he's gonna knock him out in the second round. I think he's gonna start trying to make a name for himself in the flyweight division. So yeah, go do that. Joshua Van knockout round 2. Let's get it. Next fight: Yasmin Yarogway versus Ketlin Souza. I mean, come on. Who is gonna watch this fight? I mean, I'm not watching this fight. I'm definitely not watching this fight. This fight is something I skip past. I mean, I would watch the fight before this. I'm not gonna watch this fight. I might watch the fight after this because the fight after this looks to be a banger. This fight, doesn't look to be anywhere sort of good. So I'm gonna just go with Yasmin Yargway, 11-1, for 12-1 split decision. Who cares? It's a women's fight. Manuel Torres versus Ignacio Bahamondes. Now listen, I don't know much about these fighters. All I do know is that this looks to be a banger of a fight. I mean, look at the guy on the right. He looks like he wants to fight people. And I like that. We're getting some serious fighters on this card. But, don't know much about these fighters. Manuel Torres is fighting absolute cans, but he's on a 3-fight win streak. Ignacio has fought some good competition for where he's at in the lightweight division. He had a loss, but I mean, impressive win after first round KO. So I like his odds. I'm gonna go Ignacio. By like knockout round 3. I think it's gonna be a good fight. So moving on, Irene Aldana versus Norma Dumont. I will say that again, I'm not watching this fight. I won't watch any of these fights that are later cards that have work, but I mean, Irene Aldana, I just don't like the way she fights. I don't like it. I mean, she holds her hands up to her eyebrows the whole time and like twists back and forth. She thinks she's like some Ilia Topuria. She throws good shots, but it's like she's so icky wicky with her shot selection. It's boring. Now Norma Dumont, she's more of a fun fighter, I would say. Irene Aldana had a more impressive performance on Carol Rosa than Dumont had, but even then, I'm gonna go with Norma Dumont. I want her to win. I don't want Irene Aldana anywhere near title contention after that last fight with Amanda Nunes. I mean, that's Amanda Nunes, but you gotta think, like, she did not even bring no pressure towards her. Like, what are you doing? Give me Norma Dumont. Unanimous decision. Hope she outclasses her. Like, 3-0, bro. Like, I mean, like, put a 10-8 out round in there. Absolutely batter her. Next up, Ronaldo Rodriguez versus Odie Osborne. We have a new Mexican star on the scene in Ronaldo Rodriguez, and I mean, bro, this is the main card, by the way. This is the main card. And we're having an absolute journeyman like Odie Osborne in this card. Like, what? Did anybody know this guy before he was even, like, put on his card? No, I don't think anybody paid attention to this guy. This guy is an early prelim fighter being put on the main card of the UFC 306. Dana White, what are we doing? You could have put Brandon Moreno here, or Yair Rodriguez. Like, you know how much, like, the fans would have wanted a Brandon Moreno versus Amir Albazi fight somewhere in here? That could have been the featured bout. We would have had Brian Ortega versus Diego Lopez in the 4th fight, and then for a 5th fight, we would have had, like, Yair Rodriguez versus, like, I don't know, Arnold Allen. But that might be too much of a turnaround for Arnold Allen. Bring him down. Give him, like, Calvin Gator or something. Barbosa or something. Just put these Mexican fighters on the scene. I mean, it's annoying. I don't want to deal with this fight too much. I mean, I just think Ronaldo Rodriguez is going to knock him out round 1. He's a Mexican star. He made a name for himself by shouting slurs at Odie Osborne. Yeah, I'm gonna just go Ronaldo Rodriguez. Next up, Daniel Huber versus Esteban Ribovic. And now, this fight, in my opinion, this fight is very good. Ribovic is coming off a very, very good knockout over Derek McKinney, making him slump sick cold on the canvas. I think that was St. Louis, the St. Louis Fight Night card. And Daniel Huber, he's coming off a good win over Francisco Prado. Made a name for himself on the Mexican scene. He looks like a UFC fucking Ryan Garcia. So, I'm going to go with Daniel Huber. Unanimous decision. I don't think Esteban Ribovic is really cutting it like that in the lightweight division. I think Huber's next up. He's a 6'1", 155er. He's like some Jalen Turner type build. I think he's next up on the scene. I think he fights a couple more unranked fights and then give him Jalen Turner. That would be a fun fight if you fight Jalen Turner. RDA, something. Let's go on to the next fight, the featured fight of the night. Now this one I'm the most excited for. The second most excited for. I'm more excited for the main event, but this one I'm really excited for. Brian Ortega versus Diego Lopez. Now this fight was canceled in UFC 303 and was replaced like 4 hours before the fight even happened with Dan Ige. So, I mean, I had this is a fun fight. I mean, Diego Lopez, the crazy streak. I mean, he's like contention for like fighter of the year almost. I mean, this guy's fought what 2 times already this year. I mean, it's not like he's putting up Alex Pereira numbers in fights. Obviously not same competition, but still he's beating these guys pretty impressively. Now Dan Ige wasn't that impressive, but even then, you have to know that Diego Lopez was in camp for like 2 weeks. And he had to shift weight a bunch of times. I mean, he came in 145. He had to come in the next day 155, and then he had to come in like 4 hours before the fight at 165. I mean, he was dropping weight so much. So, I mean, Diego Lopez, you have to like put an asterisk on that fight with Dan Ige. And Brian Ortega, he had a fluky submission over Yair Rodriguez. I mean, it was a good submission, but even then, he was getting battered on a feet. Like, he barely won that. Yair Rodriguez just gassed, and I mean, yeah. Yair Rodriguez, Volkanovski, Korean Zombie, Max Holloway. I mean, like, when he fights top level contenders, he loses. Now, Diego Lopez, he fights. I have more confidence in him fighting someone like Yair Rodriguez than Brian Ortega. I have more confidence in him fighting Max Holloway. Brian Ortega has no striking at all. I feel like Diego Lopez's grappling is gonna not be as good as Brian Ortega's, but his striking is gonna make up for most of it. He's a killer. Diego Lopez is a killer. He goes for the finish every time. I mean, Yair Rodriguez, he got Brian Ortega done. He didn't go for the finish as much. He just kept on running around trying to pick his shots. I feel like Diego Lopez, once he sees you hurt, which I think he will do to Brian Ortega, I feel like he's just going to go for the kill. Start throwing these up-close uppercuts, big overhands, elbows, all of that. So with that, I'm going to just go say Diego Lopez knockout round 2. And if this is a 3-round fight, Diego Lopez, he's used to these 3-round fights rather than Brian Ortega. He's going to push that pace and try to finish him. I just think Diego Lopez is just going to completely outclass Brian Ortega. And if he loses, then wow, we have a fraud check on our hands. Next up, the co-main event of the night, Alexa Grasso versus Valentina Shevchenko. Now this fight, I mean, what did we expect, you know? We've seen this fight already happen twice. We've seen Alexa Grasso submit here in the first fight and then have the flukiest draw. I thought Alexa Grasso won that second fight. But, you know, it turns out on the scorecards, she was down, and then they put in a 10-8 round for her to make it a draw, which I thought it was very weird. I just thought Alexa Grasso won that last fight. Didn't need a 10-8. Turns out she did. So, I don't know. I think Valentina Shevchenko is getting too old. I think Alexa Grasso's gonna come up, put in a Zhang Weili super fight, please. I mean, that would do numbers. Don't put it as a pay-per-view main event. Put it as a, you know, a co-main. But, you know, I think this is a fun fight. I'm kind of excited for this fight. Although I do think it's just gonna end up the same. I do think Alexa Grasso is gonna win by I think she's gonna win by split decision. I feel like she's on such a big momentum, and I feel like Shevchenko is like trying to pick herself up from the ground right now. I just don't think it's gonna work out for Shevchenko. So I'm going with Alexa Grasso by split decision. I mean, you see in the last fight, Alexa Grasso was piecing Shevchenko up, knocking her down multiple times. And, like, the ground game was good. Alexa Grasso just needs to throw more shots. I mean, she just sits there sometimes and gets hit with shots, but I feel like if she throws with her accuracy and her speed, I think she'll catch Shevchenko, put like an early cut on her or something, make the fight edge her way for the rest of the night. Now going on to the main event, Sean O'Malley versus Merab Dvalishvili. This is definitely the main event of the evening. I'm excited for this fight. I think Sean O'Malley will. I mean, this is a hard fight to predict. I mean, it's a 5-round, so you obviously want to favor Merab due to his EPO cardio. I mean, I like Merab, but come on, that's really sus. I mean, he pushes the pace for 5 rounds. I mean, he's done it with Jan, he's done it with Aldo. You know, last time he did it, he only had a 3-round fight against Cejudo in his last fight. Absolutely not embarrassed. He embarrassed Cejudo, but he didn't dominate Cejudo like that. He got caught in the first round. He was eating the shots. The only time he really started dominating was when he started, you know, holding him in chokeholds and picking him up and throwing him across the cage. It was, I don't know. I think if he's done that to Cejudo, I don't think he's gonna be able to do it to O'Malley though. I feel like O'Malley's so light on his feet. He always jumps back. Thing is that O'Malley doesn't have to worry about these long shots. I mean, fighting Chito Vera, that was like practically the same build as him. Merab is not the same build as Chito Vera. He's not as long. He's not as, you know, jab heavy. Merab's just gonna go for more takedowns than anything else. Go for takedowns, hold him up against the cage. And I mean, I feel like O'Malley's very, very light on his feet. He's gonna backstep, you know. And Merab's the type of person that, like, just shoot a takedown from across the cage. So I feel like O'Malley's just gonna, like, step back, throw a shot, move out the way, and he's gonna push that. And I feel like the only way Merab could win is if he does that for 5 rounds and then stop, like, catching Sean O'Malley and subbing him. Because I feel like O'Malley would win most of these rounds. I feel like O'Malley is just gonna outclass Merab. It's gonna be sad to see. It's not gonna be. I think, you know, O'Malley could knock out Merab. I mean, he could catch a shot inside. It's star power if he knocks him out in like the early rounds. I mean, you know, look what he did over my favorite fighter, Aljo. I mean, he just absolutely outclassed him. So, I honestly, I just think O'Malley's gonna win this. I think he's gonna end up picking his shots very well. He's gonna catch Merab. I feel like he's gonna stumble Merab pretty early. You know, stumble him a couple of times, maybe knock him down. You know, but I feel like when the time O'Malley wins, it's gonna be in the 4th round. I think he's gonna win. I feel like the damage coming to Merab is gonna be like very severe to the point that I just think O'Malley just boom, just straight up knock him down, and he's gonna start finishing him on his feet, and then bye Merab, another L, 17-5. So that's my predictions on UFC 306. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know what you guys think in the comments, and yeah, that's it. Bye.